Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 6. Those who perform prescribed duties without desiring the results of their actions are actual sannyasis, renunciates, and yogis, not those who merely ceased performing sacrifices such as Agnihotra Yajna or abandoned bodily activities. What is known as sannyasis is not different from yoga, for none become yogis without renouncing worldly desires. To the soul who is aspiring for perfection in yoga, work without attachment is said to be the means. To the sage who is already elevated in yoga, tranquility in meditation is said to be the means. When one is neither attached to sense objects nor to actions, such a person is said to be elevated in the science of yoga, having renounced all desires for the fruits of action. Elevate yourself through the power of your mind and not degrade yourself, for the mind can be the friend and also the enemy of the self. For those who have conquered the mind, it is their friend. For those who have failed to do so, the mind works like an enemy. The yogis who have conquered the mind rise above the dualities of cold and heat, joy and sorrow, and honor and dishonor. Such yogis remain peaceful and steadfast in their devotion to God. The yogi who are satisfied by knowledge and discrimination and have conquered their senses remain undisturbed in all circumstances. They see everything, dirt, stone, and gold, as the same. The yogis look upon all well wishers, friends, foes, the pious and the sinners with an impartial intellect. The yogi who is of equal intellect toward friend, companion, and foe, neutral among enemies and relatives, and unbiased between the righteous and sinful, is considered to be distinguished among humans. Those who seek the state of yoga should reside in seclusion, constantly engaged in meditation with a controlled mind and body, getting rid of desires and possessions for enjoyment. To practice yoga, one should make an asan seat in sanctified place by placing push grass, deerskin, and a cloth one over the other. The asan should neither be too high nor too low. Seated firmly on it, the yogi should strive to purify the mind by focusing it in meditation with one pointed concentration, controlling all thoughts and activities. He must hold the body, neck, and head firmly in a straight line and gaze at the tip of the nose without allowing the eyes to wander. Thus, with a serene, fearless, and unwavering mind, and staunch in the vow of celibacy, the vigilant yogi should meditate on me, having me alone as the supreme goal. Thus, constantly keeping the mind absorbed in me, the yogi of disciplined mind attains nirvana and abides in me in supreme peace. Those who eat too much or too little, sleep too much or too little cannot attain success in yoga. But those who are temperate in eating and recreation, balanced in work and regulated in sleep, can mitigate all sorrows by practicing yoga. With thorough discipline, they learn to withdraw the mind from selfish cravings and rivet it on the unsurpassable good of the self. Such persons are said to be in yoga and are free from all yearning of the senses. Just as a lamp in the windless place does not flicker, so the disciplined mind of a yogi remains steady in meditation on the Supreme. When the mind, restrained from material activities, becomes still by the practice of yoga, then the yogi is able to behold the soul through the purified mind, and he rejoices in the inner joy. In that joyous state of yoga called samadhi, one experiences supreme, boundless, divine bliss, and thus situated, one never deviates from the eternal truth. Having gained that state, one does not consider any attainment to be better. Being thus established, one is not shaken even in the midst of the greatest calamity. That state of severance from union with misery is known as yoga. This yoga should be resolutely practiced with determination, free from pessimism. Completely renouncing all desires arising from thoughts of the world, one should restrain the senses from all sides with the mind. Slowly and steadily, with conviction in the intellect, the mind will become fixed in God alone and will think of nothing else. Whenever and wherever the restless and unsteady mind wanders, one should bring it back and continually focus it on God. Great transcendental happiness comes to the yogi whose mind is calm, whose passions are subdued, who is without sin, and who sees everything in connection with God. The self controlled yogi, thus uniting the self with God, becomes free from material contamination and, being in constant touch with the Supreme, achieves the highest state of perfect happiness. The true yogis, uniting their consciousness with God, sees with equal eye all living beings in God and God in all living beings. For those who see me everywhere and see all things in me, I am never lost, nor are they ever lost to me. The yogi who is established in union with me and worships me as the supreme soul residing in all beings dwells only in me, though engaged in all kinds of activities. I regard them to be perfect yogis who see the true equality of all living beings and respond to the joys and sorrows of others as if they were their own. The system of yoga that you have described appears impractical and unattainable to me due to the restless mind. The mind is very restless, turbulent, strong, and obstinate. It appears to me that it is more difficult to control than the wind. What you say is correct. The mind is indeed very difficult to restrain, but by practice and detachment it can be controlled. Yoga is difficult to attain for one whose mind is unbridled. However, those who have learned to control the mind and who strive earnestly by proper means can attain perfection in yoga. This is my opinion. What is the fate of the unsuccessful yogi who begins the path with faith but who does not endeavor sufficiently due to an unsteady mind and is unable to reach the goal of yoga in this life? Does not such a person who deviates from yoga gets deprived of both material and spiritual success and perish like a broken cloud with no position in either spheres? Please dispel this doubt of mine completely, for who other than you can do so? One who engages on the spiritual path does not meet with destruction, either in this world or the world to come. One who strives for God realization is never overcome by evil. The unsuccessful yogis upon death go to the abodes of the virtuous. After dwelling there for many ages, they are again reborn in the earth plane into a family of pious and prosperous people. Else, if they had developed dispassion due to long practice of yoga, they are born into a family endowed with divine wisdom. Such a birth is very difficult to attain in this world. On taking such a birth, they reawaken the wisdom of their previous lives and strive even harder toward perfection in yoga. Indeed, they feel drawn toward God even against their will on the strength of their past discipline. Such seekers naturally rise above the ritualistic principles of the scriptures. With the accumulated merits of many past births, when these yogis engage in sincere endeavors to make further progress, they become purified from material desires and attain perfection in this life itself. A yogi is superior to the tapasvi, ascetic, superior to the jnani, a person of learning, and even superior to the karmi, ritualistic performer. Therefore, strive to be a yogi. Of all yogis, those whose mind are always absorbed in me and who engage in devotion to me with great faith, them I consider to be the highest of all. Chapter 6 ends here.